जय जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे निताय गौरंग जया निताय गौरंगा निताय गौरंग जया निताय गौरंगा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की भजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारकापुरी धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की, गंगामय यमुनामय की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की, समावेत भक्त वृंद की। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sah Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. That's a verse. Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are in the 7th canto, 2nd chapter, text number 16. Evam viprakrite loke Daitendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheduralakshitaha Evam viprakrite loke Daitendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheruralakshitaha Evam viprakrite loke Daityendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheruralakshitaha Evam viprakrite loke Daityendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheruralakshitaha Evam viprakrite loke Daityendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheruralakshitaha Evam viprakrite loke Daityendra anucharair muhu Divam devah parityajya Bhuvicheruralakshitaha. Mataji. Evam viprakrite loke दैत्येन्द्र अनुचरैर्मुहुः दिवं देवाः परित्यज्य भुवि चेरुरलक्षिताः एवं thus viprakrite being disturbed loke when all the people daitya indra anucharaihi yes the heavenly planets devaha the demigods parityajya giving up bhuvi on the planet earth cheruhu wandered to see the extent of the disturbances alakshitaha unseen by the demons. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada gave. Thus disturbed again and again by the unnatural occurrences caused by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. Not receiving the results of yajna, the demigods also became disturbed. They left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and, unobserved by the demons, began wandering on the planet Earth to see the disasters. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the performance of yajna brings reciprocal good fortune for both the human beings and the demigods. When the performances of yajna were stopped by the disturbances of the demons, the demigods were naturally bereft of the results of yajna and hampered in executing their respective duties. Therefore, they came down to the planet Earth to see how people had become disturbed and to consider what to do. So, in Vijayawada, Sri Radheshyam from the temple, you all are studying this 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. It's a very important section of Srimad Bhagavatam. This the behavior of Hiranyakashipu very much depicts the modern day atheistic advancement of science, technology and medicine, which is also causing a great havoc across the globe. And we don't have to speak about that, the scientists themselves are speaking about it. You must have heard about the global warming, you must have heard about the nuclear war, fear of a nuclear war. You must have heard about the snow caps melting. There are many problems, global problems, local problems and global problems. When there was a tsunami some years ago in Marina Beach, people wondered, for the first time there was swelling of the ocean. Actually, the oceans never swell beyond the brink. Scientists honestly admitted, they said it is only because of environmental disorder that we have created, because of which there was a swelling of the ocean. Because in God's creation, everything functions very smoothly. Because they are all set in motion by the Lord. Therefore, when in our body also, whenever there is a disease, we call it as a dis-ease, we call it. Dis-ease means we are not at ease. Why? Because we put something into the belly, which is not good for us. Imagine, yesterday night somebody ate 2 dozen samosas. Next day morning he has problem in the belly. Now he is feeling dis-ease. Why? Because he spoiled that ease in the body by putting something into the system. Therefore, he spoiled the order and comfort in the body. Just as I told you about the body, in the same manner you can talk about the whole world in which we are living in. The world will be in a state of order. Father and mother are not giving him money. Now he is looting the pocket of the father or cheating the mother and taking the money from home and smoking. That means he is exploiting the parents. Correct, no? So in the same manner, in this world also, man is creating so much havoc in the nature. You can see that he is slaughtering the animals in millions. And that is leading to the world wars, World War I, World War II. And all these massive wars are because of the mass killing of animals. Einstein, in his times, uh, came up with a theory called Einstein's pain wave theory. It's called EPW theory. The Einstein's pain wave theory says that wherever animals are slaughtered in mass number, when they scream, that makes the earth's crust vulnerable to earthquakes, prone to earthquakes. So Einstein just made one line only and he went. Later on, there is another scientist called Biss theory. Biss theory is same as EPW theory only, but Biss did more research on this. So he went across the globe and found out all the slaughterhouses in their neighborhood earthquakes have come. So that clearly proves that. He submitted a thesis on that. That means there is a direct connection between slaughtering of animals and earthquakes which people suffer. In the same manner, the mass killing of babies in the womb, which is done due to illicit sex between man and woman, that is causing the abortion of the children. Millions of babies are aborted. And that abortion also comes as wars. Because when a person kills a child in the womb, then he will be killed in the battle. The karma just boomerangs, comes back. What goes around has to come back again. No one can escape it. So you will see what the Hiranyakashipu servants were doing is explained here. They are called Kadana Priyaha. Kadana Priya means one who flourish in nefarious activities. Nefarious means, horrible, sinful, trouble-creating activity. Like for example, one small boy was observing his father was cutting a chicken. Cock. He was cutting cock. The cock was screaming because imagine you cut the neck of a cock. He was making sounds. So the father was laughing. Ha 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 ha. And he was cutting the neck. So son asked, Father, yesterday you were cutting your nail and little bit the blade went inside and started bleeding. You were screaming like anything. And then you put a turmeric and then you put a band-aid and everything. How much you felt pain? Now today you are cutting the neck of a cock. Don't you see? Don't you see the connection? If this cutting is so painful, this cutting will be how much more painful? But the father was like a Hiranyakashipu father. He couldn't understand. He was a cruel fellow. So how much cruelty happens in this world by torturing the poor creatures? If you see in the Google, you will get to see 90% of the world population is eating meat. Why this world is considered a jail, it's easily understandable if you see the record of the sinful activities that go on in the material world. So, how Prabhupada said if somebody is eating meat, then they lose the good brain to understand spiritual subject matter. Their brain becomes blunt. They become just like animals. Actually, you have to go from animal to human, human to divine. Animal to human, how do you go? By following 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, and no gambling. When you do these 4 things, Dhyutam, Panam, Striya, Suna, Yatra, Adharmas, Chaturvida, these 4 are adharmic activities. When we give up these 4, then we go from animal to human. How do you go from human to divine? Chant Hare Krishna and study the scriptures. Align with the teachings of the scriptures. Then you become divine. So, far from becoming divine, human being is not even becoming human being, is degrading to the level of an animal, isn't it? And that is because of this demoniac culture of Hiranyakashipu. So there are 2 types of mentalities that Lord Krishna explained in the Gita. There is divine and demoniac. So actually, in the Gita, there are 3 subjects that Krishna has taught elaborately: identity, mentality, and destiny. In the 2nd chapter, 2.13, is teaching the identity. What is the identity? Dehi nosminyata dehi kaumaram javvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. In the beginning, only ABC of spiritual life is teaching. You are not the body, you are spirit soul. Here comes the main difference. The demons think they are the body. The devotees of the Lord know that we are not the body. Who are we? Spirit soul. Here is the main difference. Because what you think who you are is going to decide the way you are going to live your life. In the dawn of creation, you know, there was an ashrama where Indra and Devas and Daityas, they went to a Gurukula. There is a pastime given in the Puranas. So there was a Daitya leader was Asura. Deva's leader was Indra. They all went to the Gurukula. On the last day of the Gurukul, when they were leaving, both this Daitya leader and Devata leader, they went to the Guruji and asked, what is your instruction for us? Guruji said, you have learned a lot of lessons in the Gurukula. Now what you see is what is you. What you see is actually what is you. And if you know the truth about who you are, you will live a pure life and you will attain all perfection. And then you can go back, he said. So they both went back. Now, the Daitya means Asura, he looked into the mirror and said, Guruji said, what you see is what you are. So he thought, this is me. So he thought, I am this body. We call it as a Dehatma Buddhi. Dehu ko hi Atma manna. Thinking the body to be soul. And then the Daitya went to all his people and said, my dear friends, all of us are our bodies. Just eat, drink and be merry. Because if we are our bodies, the bodies will be finished one day. Therefore, just eat, drink and be merry. Who has seen the next life? We don't know what is going to happen beyond that. Just eat, drink and be merry. Like that the Asura told other Asuras. And the Daitya, Devata leader, Indra, he went and looked into the mirror. He said, yes, my body looks very handsome, but this body is not going to remain forever. It was a child, it became a boy, now it is youthful now. Eventually it will become old. One day it will perish. This mortal coil will fall apart, and it will be fed into the fire, even by the relatives. It's not going to remain. So there is no longevity of this mortal body. I am not this body. Am I the mind? He asked. And then he said, the mind is also ever changing. Sometimes the mind is filled with impure things. Sometimes the mind is filled with pure things. And the mind desires one thing today and tomorrow it desires another thing. Mind is ever changing thing. Guruji had taught us that, my real identity is I am unchanging. So body is changing, so it's not me. Mind is changing, it's not me. Intelligence is sometimes immature, sometimes becomes more mature. That's not me. And the ego is also changing. Sometimes I am thinking I am this, I am thinking that, I am that. That is also changing. Then what is that unchanging thing in my body? He asked. What is it? The soul. Although the soul is invisible to the eyes, without the presence of the soul, the body cannot function. Just like in our temple there is a sumo. In the morning we take the Tata sumo and come out. One dog used to run behind the sumo. Because the dog is thinking the sumo is a big animal. So he has to fight with his thinking. Because the foolish dog cannot see that inside the sumo there is a driver. Vimudha nanu pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Krishna says, Utkamantam sirambapi bhunjanam bhagunanvitam vimudha nanu pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. There are two types of people. One is a vimudha, one is jnana chakshush. Vimudha people see only the body. Jnana chakshush people see the soul. So the dog cannot see the driver. He only sees the body, thinking of the sumo to be a big creature. That is his foolishness. Whereas those who are intelligent know that there is a driver who is making the machine function. So, he's called Jnana Chakshush, Krishna says. People know, such Jnana Chakshush people know that how the soul enters the body, how it is conducting the body, and how the soul leaves the body and goes. The body is termed as dead. They know it. It's the first thing Krishna teaches. So when Indra understood this, he called all the devatas and told them, my dear devatas, understand, this body is perishable. Mind is ever changing. The real identity is you are not the body, you are the spirit soul. And you should do something for the kalyan, for the benefit of the soul. And that is called shreyas. Don't go for prayas. Prayas means short-term benefit, immediate benefit, instinctive pleasures, which the asuras are going for. Instinctive pleasure means just enjoy right now. Asura means, asu means now. Ra means Raman. Enjoy immediately. That is called asura. They want instant gulab jamun, instant idli, everything they want instant only, correct, no? Like people have all these things. Similarly, they want instant pleasure. So I asked in a class, I showed a 100 rupee note and a chocolate, and I asked the children, which one only do you want? All the children's eyes were fixed on which one? Chocolate. They all came running, Prabhuji, Prabhuji, chocolate. I said, you don't want this? No, we don't want that. And he asked adults, which one you want? You want chocolate or 100 rupee note? They all said, we'll take 100 rupee note because 100 rupee note is 100 chocolates. So, the asuras are focused on instinctive pleasures, whereas the devas, they understood that instinctive pleasures are short-lived and they're misery-producing in the long run. Whereas the long-term pleasure, the shreyas, means worshipping the Lord and going back to Godhead is an eternal benefit. They could understand that. So, this is the first thing Krishna teaches. Understand your real identity. And once the identity is fixed, then the goals are also fixed accordingly. If you think you are the body, eat, drink and be merry is the goal. Isn't it? If you think I am the soul, the goal is the soul never dies. The soul actually, at the time of death, goes to another body. Every one of you look at your face in the mirror, you will see the face cut you got now, and the family in which you are born, and the pigment of the color of your skin, and the wealth or the poverty in which you are put in. None of it, happens by fluke. It is all pre-designed. It's exactly designed by God. You didn't choose your face cut. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose the family in which you were born. You didn't choose your economic status. All these things are stringent laws of material nature based on your Purva Janma Arjita Punyam Agre Davati Davati. Scriptures say that whatever Purva Janma Arjita Papam or Punyam you did, accordingly you get these things. So those who are devas, they work for the Shreyas. They know that what is Punya, what is Pap. They are very careful in what they speak, what they do, what they even think also, what to speak of speaking and doing. They are very alert and attentive to that. So, because they know I am not the body, I am the soul. They always think, if I do this, is it pap? Is it sinful? Or is it virtuous? So they will think twice before they act. They don't act by instinctive pleasures. That's the first thing is identity. And the second thing is mentality, Krishna talks about. In the 16th chapter, two mentalities he's saying. He's saying, Dvau bhuta sargau ye tasmin daiva asura ye vacha devo vistarasha proktaha partha and then he's saying, now I'll tell you about the partha sampadam asurim. So, he is telling that there are two type of natures. One is Daivi Sampat, another one is Asuri Sampat, he is saying. So here Hiranyakashipu belongs to which Sampat? Asuri Sampat. And Prahalad belongs to Daivi Sampat. Those two mentalities we can see. Actually, these two personalities, they got the uti or the urge from two different people. If you see, Prahalad got his urge for devotional mentality from Narada. And Hiranyakashipu got his asuric mentality when he was Jaya Vijay. They had a tussle with Chatushkumaras. So they stopped Chatushkumaras from entering the Vaikuntha. At that time, Chatushkumar became angry with them. So then both the parties became angry. So that angry urge later on offered them the opportunity to become an asura. And then Lord will come to kill them, and then that mentality is washed away by that. So, therefore, even we all have to be very careful not to have improper encounters with other living entities, because our association brings forth a certain urges into our system. For example, if you become repeatedly angry, then Krodha Sanskaras will engulf us. Then we will become a bundle of Krodha Sanskaras. Similarly, if one is encountering lusty thoughts and activities, then one becomes a bundle of lusty thoughts. Or if somebody is associating with people who create insecurity in you, they will say that, so-and-so has got so much land and so-and-so has got so much money, so-and-so has got this, that. Some people, they incite greed in you. Like it happens in families also. Like somebody says, hey, do you know their son has gone to America? What is your son doing? And they say, hey, look at your friend, he has got a Benz car and you only have a Sandro car. Then they think, okay, if I also want a Benz car, I should go for a bigger job. Then I make more money. Then I can also get a similar car like my cousin brother or somebody, and I can show off to them. Okay, you go for a bigger job, then more money and bigger house and bigger car. No time for Krishna consciousness. No time for chanting. So where do these urges have come into our system? By association, by bad association. So in this way, the two Bhutis of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad are seen in this chapter, in this section of the Bhagavatam. So, of course, it's for the Lord's pleasure, this pastime is happening. But nevertheless, we have to definitely learn lessons for ourselves. So, Hiranyakashipu is the king of the demons, and you can see what he is saying, Kadana Priya. They are all lovers of impure activities. So, I told you about the identity, I told you about the mentality. Then the third thing in Gita that Krishna talks about is the destiny. Repeatedly Krishna talks about it. You will see that. He says, Yanti deva vrata devan, pitran yanti pitruvrataha, bhutani yanti bhutejya, yanti madhyajinopimam. He's telling Arjuna, those who worship the devatas go to devatas, those who worship ghosts and spirits go to ghosts and spirits, those who worship the ancestors go to those pitrulokas, those who worship me come to me. Krishna says that. It's a destination. It's talking about your future destiny. Another verse he says, Urdham gachanti satpasta, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jagannaguna vrittista, adho gachanti tamasa. Tamasic people go to other lokas, like Patala and all that. Hellish planets. Those who are pious, they go to the heavenly planets. And those who are rajasic, they are reborn on earth, he says. Again, this is talking about the destiny. So these are all the destiny which is after death. Another type of destiny that Krishna talks about is Ye me matavidam nityam manutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto anasuyanto muchyante te pikarma bihi Ye tvadabhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudam stan vidyinashtana chetasaha. In these two verses he says, those who abide by my instructions will attain glory and they will get liberated and go back to Godhead, he says. And those who do not abide by my instructions, those who don't obey me and become independent minded and whimsical, then they will become un-Krishna conscious and they will glide down in a downward spiral to hell, like that he says. That is also destiny actually. So we are the creators of our own destiny. We are actually designing our future life. See, when we talk about designing, you can go by default or by design. These two options are available for us. Generally, in the material world, the default means degradation. Default means degradation. If you don't design your life in a way that it will uplift you, then the default option is going to degrade us. You will see that. For example, you open a banana and keep it on the table. After half an hour, you see it will be black, oxidized. You will see that. Apple, you cut and keep it, it becomes oxidized. Similarly, a stainless steel knife, you keep it on the table for a week. Next week, it will be catching rust. You will see that. So the nature of the material world is for things to degrade, because that is the material realm. So, because bhinna me prakriti rashtada, Krishna says, if you break the branch of a tree and keep it in this room, after a week it will be dried up, you will see, because it is cut off from the tree. Similarly, material energy which is cut off from the Lord, and the living entities are trying to enjoy the material energy without reference to the Lord, naturally it is a kind of drying up energy. It is actually, that's bhinna me, he says that. But for us, to not dry up in our life, we want to flourish in our life, then we have to be very lively in our life. How we can be lively? Then we have to very powerfully practice the spiritual life, and by design. We have to design right from the time I get up in the morning up to night. We have to design our day, design our week, design our month, design our year, design for our whole life. So, and we have to act according to that design, whatever plan we have made. For example, we can talk a lot about Hiranyakashipu's atrocities, but I would like to talk about how ideal king would design his country. I would like to talk from Mahabharata, Shanti Parva. There are 3 sections in the Shanti Parva. One is called Dharma Anushasana Parva. And the second, Raja Dharma Anushasana Parva is the first one. Raja Dharma means the king, how he should conduct the country. And the second part is Apad Dharma Anushasana Parva. Apad Dharma means in crisis situations, how the king should act. And the third one is Moksha Dharma, Moksha Dharma Anushasana Parva. So totally, all these three in the Shanti Parva, it has got total of 365 chapters. You can imagine such an exhaustive thing. And in that, the Moksha Dharma alone is 200 chapters, almost close to 200 chapters. And the other one, the first one is 130 chapters or so, 134 chapters, Raja Dharma Anushasana Parva. And Apad Dharma Anushasana Parva is another 35 chapters. And the Moksha Dharma is 200 chapters. So the king is trained in all these sections of the Vedic literature. And based on that, the king is supposed to conduct his kingdom. So I am going to give you the positive blueprint for ideal king. Why to talk about Hiranyakashipu's atrocities alone? We should give a positive thing because we want to conduct a positive type of shelter, spiritual shelter to people who are in touch with us. Therefore, we should learn how a king would rule. So, in the beginning it is said, Manu was requested by the people to become the king. And Manu refused in the beginning. Manu said that, according to scriptures, if you become a leader, 1/6 of the karma of your dependents will come on you. So, if the dependents are irreligious and if the dependents are careless about God's laws, then whatever actions they do, that sin is going to be shared by the king, 1/6. So, to be a prime minister or a president or a chief minister or a MLA in this world, maybe a prestigious position. At the same time, such leaders also have a big responsibility that comes along with it. Now, it is not only to do with political leaders. If you are a mother or a father, then who are your dependents? Your children are your dependents. If you are a principal of a school, you all have heard about it. If there is a principal in a school, if something dangerous happened to your child and the principal didn't take action, they will resign from the post. You know that? They do that. Why? Because they have a big responsibility. Similarly, anybody, police department also, yeah. Anybody holding any position of leadership, for them this section is very helpful to learn. So, therefore, Manu, knowing this fact that 1/6 of the karma will come, I don't want, he said. But still the people begged him very, very much. And then finally he agrees. So what are the 4 things that he did is explained. Protection of the family, protection of the property, and protection of their varna. These 3 are the secondary duties he did. And the primary duty is instituted dharma. So it's called as dharma and prajahit. 2 words are mentioned there. First of all, you should institute dharma for all the people. So dharma is an unchanging occupation of the jiva. That's called dharma, we call it. Just like, for example, water is by nature is taral. It is by nature liquid. In cold winter, sometimes the water becomes ice, but that's not natural for the water. At a normal temperature, the water is supposed to be liquid. Similarly, the living entities have a soft heart. That is natural for them. But sometimes they have a hard heart. So the hard heart is like ice. Is hard heart natural or soft heart natural? So those who follow dharma, they have a soft heart, like the thorough liquid like that. So the king would institute dharma to teach the people. Dharma, there are many dharmas. For example, people do desh dharma, people do jati dharma, kula dharma, people do samaj dharma. Samaj seva is one type of dharma also. And I heard in Hyderabad there is one man who is protecting the dogs by feeding them food. He goes in his vehicle and wherever the dogs are not getting any master, so he's supplying them food and street dogs is taking care. That's one type of dharma he's doing. But these are all chota mota dharmas. The highest dharma, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. That's the highest dharma. If you don't know the dharma that I have to surrender to Krishna, For such people, there are 5 dharmas prescribed called Pancha Yajna in the Vedic literature. It's called as Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, then there's a Nru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, and Brahma Yajna. So one line I'll tell about each of it. Why do people do Deva Yajna? Because Devatas are giving us sunlight, moonlight, rain shower, grains, crops, cereals, wind, and all those things they are giving. So we should thank those Devatas. Deva Yajna we do for them. And then Pitru Yajna means your ancestors have given sanskaras in your family lineage. So express your gratitude to them and also do the Pinda Kriya and all those things for the Pitrus. Then Nru Yajna means after you cook the food at home, you go outside the house and make a loud sound. Is there anyone there who is hungry? Please come and have a meal in a house. At least one person you come and feed. After you have give the atiti, and then family members can sit down and eat. That is called Nru Yajna. Nowadays people will be afraid to call. If you call, 2 dozen people will come. So, Bhuta Yajna means like the cows offer milk, bull drives a vehicle or bullock cart or plowing the field. And you also have, dogs which protect the house. Horse takes us for a ride on the back. Donkeys carry load and all that. So all these lower animals should also be protected and cared for. That is Bhuta Yajna. And Brahma Yajna means studying the Vedas given by, that's called Rishi Rin, we call it. Rishis have given us the Vedic literature. We have to study them and live by them. So these 5 are done by the Vedic followers. But if somebody is a Vaishnava devotee, you directly know that if I surrender to Krishna, all these 5 are included in that. Deva Rishir Bhutaptanrinam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rinicha Raja Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Parikritya Kartam. It is said, if you become a devotee of Krishna, then love Krishna, love God, love all. You have come to the ultimate dharma. So it's the duty of the kings. If you see Prithu Maharaj or Bharat Maharaj, they themselves are pure devotees. But they also arranged for yajna to be done for the welfare of the public, where the Brahmanas would offer many things in worship to the Devatas. When they would offer Indraya Swaha Idam Namama, immediately Bharat would think about the hand of the Lord, because Indra is the presiding deity for the hand. Similarly, when they offered for the Surya, he thought of the eyes. When they offered for the Agni, he thought of the mouth. When they offered to the Ashwini Kumaras, he thought of the nose. When they offered Ahuti to Dig Devatas, he thought of the ears, because these are the presiding deities. So he thought of the different limbs of the body of the Lord. That means he's a pure devotee. Correct, no? They are offering to Devatas. Brahmanas are offering to Devatas, but he is remembering the Lord's different parts of his body. So the kings were themselves pure devotees. They followed dharma and they instituted dharma also for all the people. So that is the primary duty of the king. And the secondary duty of the king is Prajahit. What does the Prajahit includes? It includes protecting the members of the family, which includes protecting women, children, older people, cows and brahmanas. And also protecting the properties of the people. Nobody should loot anyone's property. There should be law and order. And also protection includes no one should insult anyone or harm anyone. They should offer protection to everybody like that. So Prajahit includes family members protection, property protection and varna protection. Nobody's job should be snatched away by someone else. Like somebody should not occupy the land of another farmer. Or somebody should not take away the job as cheat. So everybody requires a job which is varna, according to varna. So in this way, the king would offer protection. So one thing Manu observed, as the people became flourished in their material welfare, because now protection was there from the top down. There were no thieves, no rogues, no looters, cheaters. Country was going on well. And when people had enough adequate wealth, then people started becoming careless about dharma, to God. Because people, and that's what happens, you will find in countries where they have, spick and span roads and very nice buildings and posh houses. Even in Pune, I am finding houses look like in American houses, correct? No? Nowadays they make like that, housing colonies, becoming posh, plush toilets and posh housing colonies and big cars, big roads, sky-rise buildings now. So when people become economically sound, they have adequate money, then a man thinks, what is the need for God? Huh? I have everything I want in my life. Little does he remember that he will be struck down by death one day. Time is a separating, death means a separating sword of time, we call it. Huh? He's going to be knocked down by death. It's only today or tomorrow. Huh? He doesn't remember that. He becomes a fool. Huh? He becomes blinded by material wealth. So that's what happened to Hiranyakashipu also. Hiranyakashipu goes for penance and then acquires the position of a Triloka Adhipati. He becomes king of all the three planets, and then he practically becomes blinded. Blinded by the idea that now nobody can surpass me, no one is equal to me, I am the greatest, everybody depends on me. So they don't care for God, they don't care for the scriptures, they don't care for dharma, and that is actually the beginning of their downfall. Pride comes before a fall, as we say. So you can see the modern day advancement in science and technology and medicine has made man think that, okay, if I have a disease, I have a good hospital, I can always get admitted and get cured. So many operations they do. But a time will come when no operations will work. Because the body his body is sure to fall down. Nobody can prolong the body beyond the age of 100, can they? It has to fall down one day. And also, old diseases are going off and new diseases are coming nowadays. So one corona, one small tiny, germ, it was shaking the whole world with pandemic last 3-4 years. You have seen that, which man can't even see with his eyes. Even to understand what the corona is took him 1 year, isn't it? So in this way, therefore, the king has his duty. So what the king would do, after the king is offered the post, who is offered the post, it is said. Some of the other qualifications of the king are also mentioned there. It says that the king himself should be very high in his character. That's the most important thing. Because character means how he handles women, how he handles money, how he handles the position. It is said, give a position to someone, then his character will come to be known. It is said. Because when you have a facility, then there is a tendency for misuse. If somebody has a facility, still it doesn't misuse. He's an ideal leader. Yeah. And also the king, if the king wants cooperation from his subjects, then the king should control his mind and senses. It is said. If a king eats too much or sleeps too much or is careless in dealing with the opposite sex, such kings were washed away by enemies. For example, in Chanakya's times, when a king was having weakness with women, he was killed by Vishakanyas. Similarly, if a king had a habit of overeating, then he will oversleep also. So therefore, he has to be regulated in his life, and he should have controlled the mind and senses, and he should actually rule the world in a renounced spirit. Even our Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, in one of his quotes, he was telling that although lot of privilege comes by being a Prime Minister of a country, honestly speaking, I personally don't think I am a big man. I consider myself as one of the citizens of India. And I consider this opportunity of the Prime Minister's post as a facility given to me to serve the people. This is how I see it. Other people, how they see me is different way they see me. So he said that, and that is actually, he is not saying it on his own. He has learned it from the saintly people. Because the saintly people give the correct blueprint for how the king should lead his life. So, so the king should know that I am sitting in a post, and this post will not last forever. This post is whose post? A king is called Naradev. Nara means man. Dev means Lord. So he's called as a man Lord. Why? Because he is representing the Lord. He is actually offering protection to the Praja on behalf of the Lord. He is doing. Therefore, he called as Naradev. So he has to act like it is said, Caesar's wife must be above suspicion, it is said. So the king should be spotlessly pure in his character and in his principles and policies. He should be equal to everybody. He can't be partial. He can't show nepotism. Yeah. And not only you should have character, you should have equality, you should be exemplary, you should be controlled in his mind and senses, uh, and he should not make snap decisions without understanding two sides when somebody comes with a complaint. And he should not attack an enemy without knowing the power of the enemy first. So all those things are said about the king. And a king should always seek counsel from Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who are learned in the scriptures. And he should trust their experience and their wisdom and be subservient to them, and respect them and not to boss over them or lord over them. And he himself should always be in an open mindset of learning and growing, rather than becoming proud and boastful, thinking I am all knowing and I am, I don't need anyone's help or blessing or anything. One shouldn't be like that. So many things like this are said. And after the king is offered the post, he should choose the ministers based on 5 qualities. So I have given acronym, easy to remember acronym. ICHOD. You can remember this. I see a HOD in this man. What is it? I stands for intelligence, C for character, H for honesty, O for obedience, D for dutiful. Dutiful. So I'll say one sentence about each of it. Intelligence means Viveka Buddhi. So the people whom you choose as department head or any to lead any service, intelligence means they know to discriminate. What is short-term pleasure, long-term pleasure? What is shreyas? What is prayas? What is spiritually viable? One should not see only from a material point of view. They should be able to see from spiritual point of view also. And they also should have the Vivek Buddhi to be a Saragrahi. They should be able to capture the essence of a problem, of a situation, and help the people out. And they also should be able to know what is beneficial, what is harmful, what is a smaller picture, what is a broader picture. They should be able to see. That's called as intelligence. They have that discriminative power. Yeah. And they should know, like for example, intelligent leaders are those who invest time in people and not in money or in land. Because land is dead, land is dead, money is dead, but the people are lively. Like if you have a cart and a horse, which one you should put first? If the horse is in the front, cart is behind, then the horse can pull the cart. But if you focus on putting the cart first, cart will be stagnant and the horse is standing behind. So cart cannot pull the horse. So putting the horse before the cart means invest time in people and train them, educate them, engage them, empower them. Then they will make the movement a movement. Otherwise, it will not be a movement, it will be a stagnant. It will not move. So, and this is intelligence. That means every department head should be taught this. Like you give one department head one man to assist him. And after 2 years, you see he has got 10 men. That means he has multiplied the people, correct now? So for his service. So that is real intelligence, because our movement like ISKCON requires people who are committed and dedicated and responsible and dutiful, and who will actually work hard for expanding the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So the first quality is intelligence. Second is character. I told you, character means you should not give a post to anybody if he is misbehaving with women, if he is mishandling money, or if he is a cheater, if he is a liar. One should not post them in. Just because there is no one else available, we should not post them. You can't afford to be a liar or a cheater. Or if he has stolen ISKCON's land for his own personal purpose, one should not make such people leaders. So because these people are not well-wishers of ISKCON. So therefore one should be very careful. If one feels that I'm helpless, somebody above is posting them, then one has to go to the higher authorities and complain to them at least. Once you complain, then you are free from karma. Because you have complained already, and it is for the higher authorities to take action. So the character should be very perfect. There should be no hole in the character. So character also includes many things. For example, the leaders should listen to others well before they can serve a verdict, which means they are open-minded and willing to listen. If somebody gives feedback, they won't become angry. Hey, why are you giving feedback? Don't you see we are doing so much? They will not say like that. For the ideal leader, feedback is like gulab jamun for them. Thank you for this feedback. Please keep giving me more and more feedback. Find fault with me. Find fault with the way I am doing my service so that I can serve you better. I am posted here by my spiritual master only to serve you. Tell me more how I can improve. Like in our Pune Govindas in those days, somebody made a complaint. I was sent to the authorities in Govindas. They said, who is that person? Tell him to come in the front. Why he's not coming? He's hiding behind and giving a feedback. I said, don't ask this. Somebody is giving a feedback. Is there any element of truth in it? Check it. If there's an element of truth, why don't you take it? Anybody can. See, I'll tell you one little example. An army officer came to the meet the soldiers. All the soldiers stood up and said, they would salute, like that. So he went to the restaurant and then he did like this in the table. And he said, what is this? So he was showing them it is dirty. You have not cleaned it. So that army officer's grandson, small boy, he was also walking with the father. He did below the table like this. And he got this much cobweb. And he showed his grandfather, see this. And for the first time, the army officer understood that what I showed is very little. My grandson is showing much more. So which goes to show that people below us can sometimes give better feedback than ourselves also. Many times we think we know, but they are watching even many more things. And from the other side they are watching. So that is actually the, as I told you, character means willingness to bold at the same time sensitive, courageous to express our opinions and orders, at the same time willingness to listen to others. Yeah, not becoming envious of other leaders. If a leader is envious of other leader, he cannot grow. So for example, if people below me have to grow, I should be non-envious of them. Like Hiranyakashipu is not envious of Prahlad, therefore he was destroyed. A father should never be envious of a son. A leader should never be envious of a subordinate. Actually, it is said, give up to go up, it is said. That means, if somebody, subordinate is becoming very smarter than you, then give him that position, let him rule. By doing that, you will go even more up. So, and you can have, only a leader with abundance mentality can have, dozen leaders working with you and engaging them all in different services. Hiranyakashipu is not an empowering leader, he is a choking leader. You can see that he is trying to kill Prahlad, you can see that. So, intelligence, character also means speaking the truth, keeping the promise, not budging 1 inch from the truth. So, and what is the other one I said? Hach means honesty and truthfulness. That means honesty means transparency. We are collecting funds. We should be able to show to congregation and donors that this is the money you gave, sir, and this is the way we spend the money. Not a single penny is misspent. And we should be very accountable for any gifts we receive. We should be able to show to people. And people will be very happy to give you more and more when they see that the leaders are completely transparent. They are not opaque. They are not pocketing the money and doing something else. So, honesty is the best policy. And also truthfulness and honesty. So, the leader should be thoroughly honest. And also, honesty includes also not showing nepotism or favoritism towards one party against the other party and all that. Leader cannot be like that. Leaders, actually there are many examples of the kings. There was one calf which was walking on the road. One prince, he hit the calf and the calf got a fracture in the leg. So the mother cow ran to the king's palace. And outside there was a bell. Dang, dang, dang. Mother cow was ringing the bell. And the king immediately came out of the palace. And the mother cow led the king to the place where the calf was hit. And the calf was screaming with a little broken leg. So the king became upset with the prince. And he told the ministers that now that my prince has hit the innocent calf, the calf and cow should be worshipped. So now you told the minister, you board the chariot and you have to fracture his foot. So the chariot wheel was drawn over the foot of the prince and he was given a fracture. So you can imagine the kings were so just while dealing with such situations. You can see that. Even animals plea. or a petition was respected in those days. There was another king who was going in the forest in his golden chariot. It was actually a rainy season. So there was one creeper which was moving like this, like it was not getting any tree in the near in the vicinity to cling on to. So the king put his chariot there and put the chariot around the pillar of the chariot, and he walked back. So he's called as Pari, King Pari Vallal we call, very famous king in South India. So you find how much the kings cared for Praja, even a plant, even a cow or a calf. This was the character of the people, you can see that. So intelligence, character, and then what I said, honesty and O for obedience. Actually, a king should have people who are obedient to him, cooperative with him, understanding people. And if they are not obedient, you can't do anything through those people. You need obedient people. Therefore, the Brahmanas chose only the king. They didn't choose the ministers. Why? The ministers are chosen by whom? King. Brahmanas don't choose. Imagine, for example, I choose a king, I choose ministers, and give this fellow is not cooperating with this fellow. And it will be a big headache, isn't it? Therefore, the king was chosen. King choosing is not an ordinary thing. Brahmanas are king makers. Chanakya was a king maker. So they would make someone to a king by qualifying him, training him, educating him. After that, they have to choose the ministers. So if a minister is not obedient and cooperative, then the king can change the minister. So obedience is very much wanted. Even Krishna wanted obedience from Arjuna. Correct, no? Swayambha Manu is advising Dhruva Maharaj. He wanted obedience from him. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to fight against Yakshas. And Swayambha Manu said, stop the fight. So he stopped. Arjuna wanted not to fight. Krishna wanted him to fight. He said, fight. Then ultimately he agreed to fight. That's obedience. Obedience, when you are told to fight, you should fight. When you are told to stop, we should stop. And that is called obedience. Yeah. So we need obedience from the team of people who are working with us. If somebody is too independent, tell him you start your own thing. If you are so independent, you do your own thing. You are not cooperating. And then last one is dutiful. It is said, dutiful makes you beautiful, it is said. Because dutiful means responsible, accountable. Accountable means, every department head should be accountable to the king. And the king should be accountable to the Brahmana bureaucrats, the Brahmana's body. Nobody in this world except Krishna is independent. Krishna is the only one Swarat. Everybody is accountable. Actually, there should be nobody who says that I don't care for anybody. That means he's a gone case. Everybody should have somebody whom they care for and whom they are obedient to. Like I am a president in Pune, 1997 I became president. So if anybody, I've told them, you can directly come and tell me any feedback you want to give me, or you can tell my superiors like Radha Gopinath Prabhu or Shyamanand Prabhu or my spiritual master. So we should always have people above us to whom people can go and complain about us if they wish. So therefore, both the king and the ministers, they were accountable for everything. Nobody can say, I will take money and use, but nobody should ask me how I am using the money. Nobody should say that. We are accountable for the money, we are accountable for our behavior and everything. So in this way, kings were taught the scripts to choose the ideal leaders below them. And then in this way, the whole purpose of the king is to conduct the praja in such a way that all praja will go back home, back to Godhead. While living in this world, they can live peaceful. As I told you, based on the conformity and unity principle. They can live peacefully. Unity means Geo Genedo. Live and let live principle. Maybe that's the way everybody should live in this world. Everybody should work for the benefit of one another, keeping Krishna in the center. So here Hiranyakashipu, you find diametrically opposite behavior he is showing. Far from protecting the praja, he is telling, cut down the pious trees. In the modern times also, you find people are cutting down trees for the sake of making paper. And with that paper, they are printing dirty cinema magazines and pornography books, which are read by the youths, further polluting their minds and degrading their character and behavior. Is it really necessary? Prabhupada says that if you are cutting the trees and if you are printing the books like Srimad Bhagavatam with the paper, then those trees which gave paper for this Bhagavatam, they will get a human body in the next life and they'll go back to Godhead. On the other hand, the trees cry when they see that our body is being used for making a paper for pornography books and cinema magazines. They are not happy. sports magazines and all that. So, similarly, you will find that modern times you don't get good fruits. Why? Because they don't allow the fruits to ripen. Before the fruits, actually, fruits should be touched by the moonlight. But these guys cut the watermelons and cut the fruits very quickly and put in lorries. Because why they want to quickly sell the fruits? Why? Why they want to quickly sell? Quick money. They want money very quickly. Even bananas, actually green bananas, they put smoke and make it look like yellow bananas outside. Inside you open and eat, chow, 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 no taste. Because the effect of the moon is not allowed. People want very quick, like that. So modern times also they're cutting down pious trees very fast. Now man wants to make roads, broaden the roads. He's cutting down jungles. Like in Pune, we are finding they are even tearing down mountains and making big, big buildings. Correct, no? In the mount, everywhere they're cutting down trees and expanding the material civilization. You will see that. So that's about cutting down the trees. And therefore, you find they have phosphate bath and other things by which they put saccharin over the grapes. They give a saccharin bath. And the grapes, actually, when you buy and put in your mouth, they will be very sweet. That sweetness is not juice. What is that sweetness? Saccharin, which is very harmful. It's not very good for health. It's a lot of things they're doing by this genetically modified foods and all, needless to say. How man is even playing with nature and causing so much. Like, this mung dal, which looks golden yellow. It looks very... See, if you go to the market, you see a golden yellow mung dal. Mung dal is what you call it? They know that. Yeah. And you see a dull one. Which one will you buy? Dull one, sure? Yeah, you know it, yeah. But most people will buy which one? Golden one. Apple also is a reddish apple. Looks very attractive. When you bite it, chava, 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 no taste. Correct, no? So, like I asked the boys, you want a Gunavati or a Rupavati wife? So one boy said, I want a Rupavati who is also Gunavati. So, the reddish apple is like a prostitute apple. Because, it's a genetically modified apple. So it looks very reddish. When you eat it, no taste at all. On the other hand, the green apple, if you see, that is actually not genetically modified and they have not done anything. Like whenever somebody brings me papaya or watermelon, if it is juicy, I know that it is untouched by man. Otherwise, it cannot be like that. So the man has the same mentality like Hiranyakashipu, cutting down the pious trees. And he said, break the gopurams. He's telling, gopurams of temples. That means, see, when Shivaji Maharaj, I heard, when he was going for a war against one particular zone, his soldiers asked him, see, there are churches, there are mosques, there are temples. So what do you want us to do with this? He said, these are worshipable places where the Lord is worshipped. He said, you should never damage them. It's very sinful to damage. People are gathering together to remember the Lord and bow down to Him. You should leave this because He's a dharmic king. He knows in all the religions, ultimately, there is only one Supreme Lord being worshipped. They brought one lady, very beautiful lady of the Mughal king, in front of him. He said, are you, why are you so foolish? They are bringing a beautiful woman in front of me. She's a married woman. This married woman deserves to be respected like a mother. So the king gets his scripts from the saintly people. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, the king may exploit such things and glide down to hell himself. Correct, no? So, in this way, the Hiranyakashipu, you find that he is actually causing a havoc to the praja. And he's telling, go to the Brahmanas' agraharams. You set fire to their hermitages. And don't allow them to do yajna, he's telling. In the modern times also, you find modern day institutions say that, see, let people not be too much dharmic. If they are dharmic, they will become satisfied. If they are satisfied for economic development, they won't work very hard. So, therefore, they want them to work hard. So, what do you want them to do? Prabhupada says in the holy places, they put debris and everything and make the holy places so nasty that nobody will want to go there. Of course, this was a situation in 70s, 80s, 90s. Now many people have woken up now. They are cleaning the Yamuna, cleaning the Ganga. Because these fellows are putting all the effluents from chemical companies into Ganga and Yamuna. Then the Ganga Bachao, Yamuna Bachao movement started, and then now they have cleaned it now. But the point is what? The demons always want to make money, but they don't care for the well-being of the masses. Material well-being and spiritual well-being, they don't care about that. They see, these are all connected. If you see the TV, glorifies through advertisements. Buy this, buy that. And the products which are unnecessities are made, like cigarettes, liquor, brothels, clubs, slaughterhouses. These and this kind of and many unnecessary cosmetics, everything is made by industries and they are promoted by TV and sold in big shopping malls. You will find that all are connected. So if any of you want to know more, you can see one website called storyofthestuff.com. Storyofthestuff.com. You can see that. That very beautifully they have shown it. So, Hiranyakashipu civilization, Prabhupada says, this Hiranyakashipu civilization cannot last for a long time. Just as Lord Narasimha came out of the pillar and put Hiranyakashipu on his lap and tore him to pieces. Similarly, the godless civilization is born of illusion. And the result of such a civilization is lamentation. Prabhupada writes it in the Ishopanishad, he writes. So, between Prahalad and Hiranyakashipu, Prahalad will always win. So, even though the devotees may be minority, small number, but those who are faithfully practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name, studying scriptures, aligning with the Lord, living cooperatively with other living beings, and trying their level best to propagate this message to the people. Even if it is a smaller group of population of people, we should very boldly and joyfully join that group because they are aligned with the Lord. Prahalad looks weak or Hiranyakashipu looks weak? Who looks weak? Prahalad looks weak. Hiranyakashipu is a Trilokadipati, looks very mighty, but who was destroyed? You see, Durvasa looks weak or Ambarish looks weak? Ambarish was just folding palms and Durvasa was taking over. Finally, he was in trouble. In the past time you see. Similarly, Ravana and his team, they had all big weapons and Mayavi weapons and all, but monkeys were just throwing boulders and trees. They look very weak, but finally they won, you will see that. Because they are on the right side, that's the most important thing. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana, they are on the right side. So we have to make sure, I used to tell in my college days, if everybody is doing nonsense in the college, you 99 guys, you'll be on the other side. I am one person, I'll be on this side. Because I know this is the path God wants me to follow. You go to hell if you want, but I want to go to God. But in those days, I was not knowing Shastra in my school days. I know that these guys are doing wrong, but I didn't have proper pramana to defeat them. Fortunately, then I got connected to devotees, met ISKCON devotees and everything. So now we have a very solid blueprint for life, how we should lead, and we should actually, there may be many pious children in many schools, colleges, companies. We should reach Prabhupada books to them because once they read Prabhupada's book, their eyes will be opened. The Jnana Chakshu will be opened and Divya Chakshu they will get. And with that eyes, they can lead their life peacefully, blissfully, and they can also share it with others. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki. I can take 5 minutes questions. Anybody? Yeah. You can take this mic or one more mic here. This can be.
Prabhuji. Recording.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class on qualities of a leader and how we should use the power and what, like many items you mentioned. You mentioned one about when there is a facility, there is a tendency to misuse the facility.
Correct.
So, like, despite practicing spiritual life for some time, facilities, even Dayaram Prabhu used to mention, like, somebody, you want to test a character of person, give him the, like, it's quoted with somebody, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Give him the power.
Correct.
So, when the facility is there, then how to avoid this tendency? Like, tendency is there, but how to make sure that we are not misusing, but you are rightly using.
Actually, that's the reason I was giving example of this banana, apple, knife and all I was giving example. The tendency in the material world, the default option is degradation. So to avoid the default option, we have to design our life. So designing our life requires some amount of effort. For example, I am sleeping in a room. Next morning I get up, I have to throw water and take a wiper and clean it. That's ideal behavior because I have to remove the tamas in the room. But when you get up and after taking bath, you feel there is a little lethargy in us to do that. Because we are thinking, I have so many other things to do, correct now? So that we have to overcome that inertia and then make an effort. So we design our behavior. Huh? If we design our behavior, similarly, for example, there is a lethargy to read the scriptures. We always become preoccupied in replying to messages, replying to emails, talking to different people, and then day passes, weeks pass, and we don't read. Huh? So then we have to make a plan that we design our day. After lunch, I will read half an hour every day. After dinner, I will read half an hour. You're designing your day. So in this way, we have to, first of all, write down all the core activities that we need to do to be called as a follower of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to be a follower of Srila Prabhupada. So write down what are you, like I had decided that every day I'll go on Harinam. See, still I have 4 rounds to chant now. Still, I will go half an hour for Harinam every day. Wherever I am, I go. Calcutta also I went. Pune also I go. Hyderabad also I go. Because we are whose followers? Mahaprabhu's followers. What did Mahaprabhu do? Udilo Aruna, Pura Babage, Dvijamani Go Ramani Jage. Every morning Mahaprabhu went out doing Harinam Sankirtan with his followers. So if you are his followers, then we also have to spread the holy name to people. If we don't spread the holy name, who will spread? And otherwise, we have a tendency to become bookworms, sitting within 4 walls. In Pune also, I told many devotees that don't become bookworms sitting within 4 walls. That's not what Mahaprabhu did. Mahaprabhu is actually coming, he's a dancing Lord, singing Lord. He is a holy name spreading Lord. That's how he preached in South India also when he came. We should go out. We should not be within the 4 walls. Yes, you study books. There's a time for study also, but at least some part of the day. In America, they have a standard schedule of the temple. Morning 4:30 to 9:30 they attend. After 9:30 they have 1 hour break. They have till 10:30. And 10:30 they have cleaning service all over the campus. So 10:30 to 12, 1.5 hours they clean. Everybody is allotted different areas. After 12 they start packing up books and everything like that up to I think 12:30 I think. And then they have another half an hour break after that. Some of them take prasad or some of them study and all that. Then 1 o'clock they leave. And then they come back at 8 o'clock. Straight. And this is not only in one temple, almost in 7, 8 temples I have seen this schedule. 1 o'clock they go and come back at 8 o'clock to temple. Not all of them. Say if 10 of them go, 5 of them will come at 8 o'clock. Other 5 may come little early. They may come at 7 and then do Gaurarti. They do. So they have Gaurarti, they have Tulsi Arti, Narsingh Arti, and Bhagavad Gita class. They do. Those group who come at 7, it is their responsibility to run the evening program till 8. That means that's also like 1 to 8 only, isn't it? So, and then what about prasad at 4:30 evening? That prasadam goes from temple to the place where they are there. And also, His Holiness Guru, what is his name? Guru Prasad Maharaj came to Pune. So he said what some of the temples do, when they are sitting when they put a book table, they have 8 and devotees in that book table. So what he said, they rotate, in rotation they do 20 minutes chant, they chant. Another 20 minutes they read. Another 20 minutes they distribute books. These people, they go in rotation like that. One third time they chant, 1/3 time. But also if you are sitting in the road and chanting, people see that these fellows are chanting, they come and ask. When they come and, like you are chanting now, somebody is asking you, what is the chanting? You tell them, go to the table. So the person distributing book will give them a mala and explain about chanting. That means your chanting also is preaching. You understand? And then they read Krishna book or something loudly in the mic, they read. So people also come and sit. They hear also. That means your reading is also preaching. That means your chanting is also preaching, your reading is also preaching. And then your turn will come for another 20 minutes to sit in the table, and then you have to distribute books and take the money. So if there are 8 devotees, 3 or 4 devotees are, standing in the table, the other devotees have, in rotation, they do like that. He said that way, hearing is also going on, reading and hearing going on, extra chanting rounds is going on, and distribution also is going on. A lot of books go. They put a big table with hundreds of books they display in such a colorful manner. it will not escape anybody's eyes. Everybody comes. They make a big display, they make. With Prabhupada's books, very attractive. Many people even take Bhagavatam sets also. Sometimes come to the table and take the whole set. So, but what happens in India, our culture in India is more indoor study of the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and discussing and churning and parasparam, bodhayanta parasparam, we do that, which is also good. It can actually strengthen our internal stability. At the same time, there is one problem in that. What happens over a period of time, the philosophy is the same. Unless we go out and do something, we don't get realization. Actually, it can become hackneyed, stereotyped, boring, and we may not feel the thrill that we had in the very early days. But if you go out and do some paropakar, then that thrill is a gift that Krishna gives you by seeing that, yes, you are doing something for me, I will reciprocate with your endeavor by giving you that joy and thrill in spiritual life. Right now? So, therefore, and one more thing is, we can feel the helplessness when we go out. The desperation in spiritual life, helplessness. So, three things are very important. Remember that BRS, remember. We should always be in a begging mood. R is a repentant mode. S is a shelter-taking mode. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, BRS, you can remember. Correct, no? But you tell me, when we are just reading, chanting, are we in a begging mood, repentant mood and shelter-taking mood? Are we in that mood always? We are not. So that mood is created when we go out and do Prabhupada, following in footsteps of Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur. Correct, no? Yeah. Even in book distribution, there are two types of book distribution. One type of distribution is, some people, they in the morning they announce, so-and-so Prabhu, 500 books. How you distribute it? They just collect donation from some big fellow and give it to temple for Shastra Dan. So in his name, how many books are distributed? 500 books. So this doesn't create the begging mood, repentant mood, shelter-taking mood. It doesn't create, because it's ready-made. You just, in fact, you'll be proud that, I just make one phone call and money comes. We may think like that, isn't it? On the other hand, imagine I went out, only 5 books I distributed. But I had to literally beg people, please take this book, please take this book. I showed for 2 hours and then they purchased. So the right mood is created, climate is created, correct, no? So we want purifying distribution or just a quantity distribution. We have to think. Both are valuable. I won't say one is bad or other is good or something. But we also can help ourselves while doing Sankirtan. Helping ourselves means awakening the right mood in which we live our life as a devotee. So the tendency in the material world is to become lethargic. And, like for example, I'll tell you, when I joined in Chapari temple in 1994, I was full-time devotee. 1991 I came, and 94 I joined. So I remember Sunday program, morning we will do the whole thing, and after the Guru Puja is over, then we will have Brahma Samhita. They will recite. It will go till 8:15, 8:20 it will go. Then Maharaj will come, and then Maharaj will do Kirtan for some time, and then give the lecture till 9:45. And then question answer till 10, 10:30 it will go. Maharaj will do that. And then after 10:30, everybody goes for a big queue and khichdi. We will take and everything. And then 12:30, Gaur Arati. So that the gap is not much. You talk to devotees a little bit here and there. And Maharaj himself used to come for Gaur Arati. And Gaur Arati used to be very powerful. Maharaj would dance and teach us how to dance. And the kirtan would go on. It will go till almost 2 o'clock, 2:15 it will go. Then Maharaj will come to the last part. Then he will start the Jayarada Madhava. And then you'll see Chaitanya Leela. And that will go till like 4, 4:30. So lunch is like 4:30. Morning khichdi at 10, 10:15, 10:30. And then evening at 4:30. It's like, that's the way Prasadam was. So gradually over a period of time, what would happen when Brahma Samhita starts, nobody will be there. And then Gaur Arati, nobody was there. Then later on, in the evening also Gaur Arati used to be there. Later on Gaur Arati stopped. Stopped in sense, Pujari is doing and the devotees may not be able to come. So over a period of time, Kasakale Neha Mahata, Yogo Nashta, Parantapa. So what we have done in Pune now, we are telling devotees that either you go for half an hour Harinam in the morning, or if you want to chant, come for the evening Gaur Arati, we have told. So now many devotees are coming for evening Gaur Arati now. So temple looks colorful. If evening Gaur Arati devotees are doing, a lot of visitors come to temple, they chant, dance, and when they see the devotees, many people ask. Nowadays we have started chanting, introducing people to chanting in temple. 200 people, 300 people are coming and chanting in the temple daily. And after that, 15, 20 of them will take mala for chanting. And we note down their names and phone numbers and connect them to the programs in the city. We do that. And next day morning, we announce it in front of the deities. Huh? We announce that 200 people chanted yesterday, and out of the 20 people took mala for regularly chanting Hare Krishna. We do that. And we have got book table in about 4, 5 spots in the temple. If they miss one spot, they will be caught in the next spot. So they get to see Prabhupada books. We have IQ, EQ, form filling. So why you are doing all these things? Whole idea is our temples are here. They are exactly like Prabhupada said, transmitting spiritual knowledge to the suffering masses. That's one of the main goals of the temple. The Lord Himself is the center of the temple and He is the beauty of the temple. And we all become His servants. And we assist Him and serve Him not only by worshipping the deity, we worship the deity and then we sing for His pleasure, dance for His pleasure, distribute books for His pleasure, distribute prasadam for His pleasure, and reach out to as many people. The more we bring souls to His lotus feet, the Lord becomes very pleased that you have saved my children. I am very grateful to you. Lord says, Nachatasman manushyeshu paschinme priyakritamaha. Of course, if we study about Him and remember Him, He will be happy too. But He feels even more happy when we bring more people. Prabhupada said, the more the merrier. In America, one class, Prabhupada said, see, if I am giving class and there is no one in the room, I am alone giving class. So sometimes in Zoom you give like that, correct? No? You don't know whether they are there or not. You have all black boxes you see sometimes. The Prabhupada said, there is no fun, he said. But then when you give class, there are some 20, 30 devotees sitting, then there is fun. Because Prabhupada said, we were speaking Katha to you, in the same manner, Prabhupada said, when you bring more and more devotees to temple, Lord becomes more and more pleased. Because you've saved those jivas from gliding down. Correct, no? Yeah. So now it's time for prasad. You all can take 9:30 now. Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki,
Radheshyam Prabhu ki
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. So you spend how many